New coalition talks have kicked off in Germany in what's seen as Angela Merkel's last chance to form a majority government and avoid yet another election. The Social Democrats and the ruling Christian Democratic Union will now have 5 days to enter into a so-called grand coalition, and both sides seem confident of success. Forming an alliance with the Social Democrats is the only option left for Angela Merkel. Previous coalition talks with the Green Party and the Free Democrats collapsed 2 months ago. The political crisis is seen by some as the worst in Germany for years. Ilya Petrenko sizes up Merkel's chances of resolving it.
To put together a coalition, it takes a match. Angela's been desperate to make any match. She hoped her party could match with the Greens. But that plan also required matching with the FDP, or the Free Democrats. A right swipe here too. But no it's a match pop-ups. Angela almost got it right with the Green Party, but she's still in favor of using coal power. Plus, her transport minister in the old government called the Greens tofu that has fallen into our meat stew. When it comes to the FDP, these folks were nowhere near matching, with deep divisions in how to deal with tax, asylum, and environmental policies.
We will not abandon our voters for a policy with which we are not convinced. It is better not to govern than to govern badly.
So that was it for the so-called Jamaica coalition talks. One guy quit using the coalition building app altogether, but then signed up again.
We are not entering a grand coalition. We said this clearly in this room after the elections, and we still stand by this. The new time needs a new politics, and that's why these talks are necessary, to meet the great challenges facing the world, Europe and Germany.
So Angela crossed paths with her old partner. Swipe left or swipe right. The Conservative leader is having another go at matching with the Social Democrats. But here again, Angela may find herself matchless. Here's why. Migration was much less of an issue in 2013 when agreeing on the CDU-SPD Grand Coalition was no sweat. Today, it's one of the main, if not the #1 issue for Germans to worry about. The success of the right wing forced the Conservative bloc to get more tough on asylum seekers, something the Social Democrats refuse to accept. Instead, what they'd love to accept and actually push for is more EU integration. After all, the SPD leader wants to see the United States of Europe, and while Angela's CDU is more hesitant, the Bavarian wing of her bloc is turning increasingly Eurosceptic. You don't invite Hungary's leader / EU boogeyman Viktor Orban to a party summit for nothing. Then there's the issue of how much to spend on the army. The Conservatives are seeking more military spending to reach the NATO target of 2% of GDP. The Social Democrats, though, say that's not what Germany needs. If eventually these things are enough to cause a mismatch, Angela Merkel may end up in real trouble.
Well, as the prospect of yet another election looms, recent opinion polls show more than half of all Germans are against Merkel running again. Well, earlier we spoke to geopolitical analyst Rainer Rothfuss, who believes a rerun is much more likely than people think.
The trust in the Great Coalition is beginning to diminish quite considerably in the German population. There is already a majority of people calling for new elections, as recent polls have shown. A good negotiator would have seen much earlier that one of the 3 or 4 even negotiating parties was quite underrepresented in the different points that were gathered to form the coalition. And obviously, Angela Merkel failed in that point. She did not realize how bad the situation was perceived on behalf of the liberals. I can imagine that Merkel will be replaced even if there are new elections already in 2018.
Well, the Vice President of the German Bundestag recently said he was in favour of limiting the Chancellor's term in office to 8 or 10 years, calling it the hardest job in the country. And amid the political uncertainty, some are speculating Merkel may not run again if the latest coalition talks fail. The media has already lined up potential successors.
Chefin von der Billigtruppe. Kanzlerin willst du gern sein? Frag doch mal das Volk sagt nein, nein, nein.
What is the dome for on the Reichstag? Well, have any of you ever seen a circus with a flat roof?
Are you an expert in German wines?
If we were to do a wine test now, yes. It's pretty easy to distinguish between red and white wine.